Good evening, Blues. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. It's Stephen here the day after City's 1-1 draw at the Emirates Stadium against Arsenal. And lots to talk about. An awful lot to talk about. I've been dying to do this video today. I've been out with the family doing loads of stuff, so I haven't had a chance to. Lots of stuff. We've just heard that Donnarumma as well has won the Yashin Award, the Lev Yashin Award for the best goalkeeper in the world. Obviously, they saw his 3 performances for City so far and give that man the trophy. Absolutely. Congratulations to the big Donny himself, a wonderful player, and I'm delighted for him. We've got the best goalkeeper in the world officially at Manchester City Football Club. That's a fact, mate. That's what the award says. So there we go. If you accept the awards, means something. That means we've got the best goalkeeper in the world, which is very nice, and I think we're all happy with his contribution so far. Anyway, this is 5 things that we learned from that game. Where I dive into a few topics that I want to discuss and explore in a little bit more focus. Of course, the match reaction is there from last night, and to be honest, I'm actually not going to talk about the main thing that we took from that game, actually, because I discussed it with such length and such focus in the match reaction, which was Pep parking the bus and Pep being a pragmatist, that I don't feel that we need to go there again. So I'm not going to mention that in this necessarily. It'll be obviously mentioned, of course it will, but it's not going to be one of the topics because I feel like I covered it quite nicely, actually, the match reaction. So I'm not going to talk about that in this video because it was, I've covered it already. And I think there's a separate video to talk about that anyway, probably coming up soon. Give the video a like if you are new here. Ding, like, subscribe. I know the YouTubers say that all the time. It's because it genuinely helps. Like, every time the numbers go up, it's better, and we get to make more videos. And some of us quite like making videos, and I'm one of those people. I enjoy making videos, and if you enjoy watching a man just chat about the club that he loves, do your thing. Like the video. Gonna start with love for the nation of Uzbekistan. Abdukodir Khusanov is genuinely ridiculous. I couldn't find a way to word it better than just this. Look, this man is like, right. Defending is not a sexy part of football. It isn't. Unless you're Ruben Diaz or you top off, I don't know. Largely, it's not the thing we want to watch. But there's certain players that make you just enjoy the art form of defending. And Abdukodir Khusanov is absolutely one of them. We all want to watch people like Jeremy Doku and Haaland do wonderful attacking things and Phil Foden. But Khusanov is so much fun to watch defending because he has this just irrepressible, undeniable physicality, while also being a genuinely smart defender, a warrior of a defender, a man who takes great pleasure in stopping people. So much that it's just remarkable how adept that he is at it. I think he's the most natural defender I've seen in an awful long time. Like, the man was born, moulded, crafted by the essence of defending itself. The pace, the reading of the game, the strength in the challenge, the natural ability in the air. He's just an absolute duel-winning machine. And it doesn't matter where he plays in that back line. You put him a left back if you want to, right back, centre back, whatever. He's going to get across and he's going to win the ball 9 times out of 10, if not 99 times out of 100. He's ridiculously reliable while also being pretty decent on the ball at the same time. But he just locks down a side in the way that I've not seen anyone do since Kyle Walker. Khusanov is a fantastic footballer, and a lot of people did all this stuff about saying he's not a fullback, he'll never play there. Why are people saying that? I go back to the start of the season when it said the Dream 11 that I wanted to see, and people go, Khusanov's not a fullback, why are you doing that? This is why I'm doing that, because I looked at how he played football and thought, well, what is he doing there that is fundamentally different to what Kyle Walker's doing? Yes, Kyle Walker has much more experience and knows how to get forward a little bit better than Khusanov, definitely. But Kyle Walker was never a ridiculous attacking threat anyway. Kyle Walker's main attribute was just how much he locked down that right side with that searing pace of his. And I would argue, if anything, Khusanov's better defensively than Kyle Walker, because Kyle Walker, look, he played further forward because he's more involved in the build-up, absolutely. But Kyle Walker, his positional sense was poor. Like, he often got himself out of jail. Even when we weren't attacking, he was just out of position anyway, with his searing pace. Khusanov is naturally much better at reading the game. He's a much more natural defender, and he has this irrepressible physicality, as I was saying earlier, where he can just push anyone off the ball and get there quicker. And it was just so satisfying to watch him chase it, be it Calafiori or Trossard, whoever, and time again, cut it out. And I maintain, if he hadn't got that injury at half-time, come off half time, we probably don't concede that goal. If the ball goes over the top and he's on the pitch, I know that the game would have played out differently because of the knock-on effect and all that kind of stuff. But if he was there on the pitch for that moment, he gets across and cuts that out with his searing pace once again. Yeah, Khusanov is going to be a quite ridiculous centre-back at one point. He won't be a right-back forever. He's going to get into the team. He's going to win everything. And yeah, the man's a cheat code. He really does just have this ridiculous asset where he cuts out most attacks on his own through that pace. And right now, he has to be our best right back because Nunes, who had a good cameo, by the way, I'll give him the credit for that, but Nunes is not good enough for Manchester City as a defensive right back, and Rico's not physical enough. Right now, if you've got a guy who can just defend really bloody well, give this shirt to Khusanov and let him do his thing. What a player. What a ridiculously fun player to watch. I've got to give the fullback some credit today. Fullback role, by the way, is massively overhyped because they've got a mobile centre back and a technically smart centre midfielder playing at fullback for City, and they're probably arguably the two most impressive players on the pitch. Maybe it's debatable, but either way, Nico O'Reilly, another guy who's not a fullback, been absolutely excellent. Nico O'Reilly can be absolutely anything he wants to be in football. When you have that physicality, that technical ability, that confidence, that pace, that goal instinct, that overall complete mould as a footballer, then he can be anything you want. If you told Nico O'Reilly 2 years ago that this attacking midfielder, this goal-scoring genius going forward, O'Reilly was shit. Okay, there's an idiot in the chat, and I am genuinely going to call you an idiot because I have no respect for anyone who could say that after. It's probably just a troll or stupid. You can't throw the ball. If you care about a throw-in, Jesus Christ. Why do I read the chat? He's crap because he can't take a throw-in. It was a bad throw-in, but who cares, man? Who cares? Anyway, but Nico O'Reilly yesterday went up against Saka and Madueke, two of the most, technically, Madueke's had an incredible time. And he could barely get a yard out of Nico O'Reilly. And in a position that he's absolutely never been at home in. O'Reilly seems to get better and better and better. He was brilliant yesterday. And that was a game where we had to defend and really lock down and focus on defending. And this young lad who's learning a new role against one of the trickiest wingers in the league, two of the trickiest wingers in the league, he was so good. I kept thinking every time he went to Madueke that he was going to beat him. But he kept standing him up and he kept just stopping him. The amount of times he wins the ball. This guy is genuinely... I used to watch him in the academy and he was like a goal scorer in number 10, false 9. He did wonderful things. And now he's just physically impressive. He's left back. He's very good at winning the ball, which is something that he shouldn't be good at. But he's got a bit of bite to him, a little bit of needle. He's aggressive. And he showed that he can adapt to pretty much any role on the pitch. Right now, yeah, people talking about Nori. Nico O'Reilly, he's in the team. He is. And I got a feeling he can stay there potentially. Nori is cracking. And I did a post when Nori got... injured, saying, I think this is a chance for Nico O'Reilly to make something of the shirt. And loads of people said, no, Ake will start against Arsenal. And look, that made a lot of sense given Saka at the time and so on. But no, Nico O'Reilly's in the team on merit, and he was more than good enough against one of the best teams in the league. He's great against one of the best teams in the league defensively, one of the best wingers in the league right now. So good. And then the composure, as Ryan said in the chat, to nutmeg Madueke as well and bring it forward. Look, yeah, it's ridiculously good for his age. He's inexperienced in a role he's not familiar with. Nico O'Reilly and Khusanov right now, they have played their way into the team, and they are, alongside Vardiel and Diaz, in my opinion, some of the first names on the sheet. I want to talk about City's spine. I truly believe this. The spine of City's team, which is usually what you build a great team around, is as good as any, really, especially in this league. I know we've got to get better, but overall, if you think about the peak ability, and it's epitomised by those two at either end of the pitch, what they could be, I think City are in a really good shape. I feel a lot more confident after this week than I did, about where we were heading 2 weeks ago. After the Brighton game, the Spurs game, yeah, it stung a little bit. But then I think about where we've come. Donnarumma is clearly, and I'll get onto him a little bit in the next point I'm going to make, but Donnarumma clearly is a world-class goalkeeper, the best in the world according to the current rankings. Haaland, to me, is the best natural striker in the world. So you got two of the best there, if not best, top 2 or 3, at least. Inarguable, that. There, you got Rodri, who once he finds his best form is the best midfielder in the world, in my opinion. We've seen how good Phil Foden can be. Then you add Vardiel and Diaz, who look like a cracking partnership right now, and that is a ridiculously good spine. If you add the joy of Foden and Doku around them, and hopefully add Shirky or Marmoush into that as well. Hopefully the midfield alongside Rodri finds a little bit of form, but that spine right through the middle there is full of world-class potential at all players. Either current world-class or world-class potential. And that, to me, is really, really encouraging because great sides are built on a great spine. They always are. Cast your mind back to, the... Diaz, by the way, looked faster than I thought he has recently yesterday. I don't know if he's reading the game a little better because a bit more switched on, but yeah. But cast your mind back to, I don't know, the team that won the league many years ago, the first time when you had like Hart and Vinny and Yaya and Silva and Aguero as a spine. And then you cast your mind back to the treble winning side where it was like Edison and Stones and Diaz and then Rodri and Gundogan and De Bruyne and Haaland as your spine in the middle. Like the great Manchester City sides always have players that are some of the best, if not the best in the world in their roles. And I do think this City spine, is excellent. He's got more to do, absolutely. But I enjoyed what I saw. I did. I know we only drew, but I enjoyed watching that team dig in and really not want to lose. And that leads me on to my next point. The City enjoy defending again, which is nice because I've not watched the City side enjoy defending for 2 years. Like, genuinely. Like, I've not watched the City side. Like, all the physicality was coming out. That man is a bromance. He's fed up bromances. Like, Diaz just loves it when he can give someone a big bear hug, slap their ass, a high five, or a fist bump. Like, he loves it, doesn't he, Ruben Diaz? And I think he lost a little bit of that motivation playing alongside people maybe who didn't have that same fire that he first imbued onto this team 4 or 5 years ago when he joined. And Diaz, I thought Diaz is a big part of the solidity. Like, people talk about Diaz's form in the last year or two dipping. Absolutely a valid criticism, but Diaz is there for a reason, by the way, because I feel like he's the epitome of what's happened. Donnarumma coming back into the City side, getting the players to enjoy defending again has been absolutely transformational. I think Donnarumma is a big part of that. Donnarumma is getting the best out of him, which in turn is creating a great partnership with Vardiol, which in turn is Vardiol helping O'Reilly, which in turn is Diaz helping Khusanov. All of those players yesterday against Arsenal, they really enjoyed the art of just fucking things up for Arsenal. Like, and I saw someone saying on Blue Moon Forum, like, did we really defend well or did we just defend deep? No, we absolutely defended well. We defended really fucking well, man. Like, City were absolutely focused. The amount of times I saw Arsenal in a situation where I thought, oh, it's 1-on-1 with that guy there, whoever it is, or there's a big cross coming in and you've got Nico O'Reilly heading it away, or Diaz heading it away, or Donnarumma punching it away. 11 corners we faced against the best set-piece side probably in the world right now. It's their bread and butter. 18 goals since the start of last season from set-piece from corners. And we defended him perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. We headed everything away. We kicked everything away. And of course, we made a mistake towards the end. But we enjoyed defending. And it was really, really, really satisfying to watch the team and do that. Because, look, I've got no doubt that City are going to score goals with Haaland, Foden, Rodri, Doku, whatever. And Shirky and Marmoush when they come back into the side. If we can get that spine again and enjoy defending when you've got a shot stopper as good as Donnarumma behind you, that makes me think we might even go far in the Champions League. If you make yourself hard to score against, and we've just proven that we can be incredibly hard to score against. How many teams can do that to Arsenal, by the way? Like, not hardly any. You're in luck, Ryan. I'll get to your point in a minute, mate. You're in luck. Just wait another 60 seconds. But how many teams can do that in the world right now? Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's really, really, really impressive. So I thought City enjoyed defending, and that to me is why I'm confident. Because you cut out all the shit that we said in the last year and a half, like flimsy defending, no communication between people. Like you get rid of all that, and all of a sudden you've got a team that can defend. Well, that's going to win you points because we've got those from the best forwards in world football. So I'm very excited because I saw a team that has a bit of fire, a bit of like let's play for each other about them, and that to me is really, really, really encouraging. Like I am very, 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 very encouraged by that City's newfound love of defending, because that, to me, it's everything. It's absolutely everything. And finally, there's so many things I want to talk about, but I want to give this man some love. We talked a lot about defensive steel in this video, about the spine and Khusanov and O'Reilly and so on, but we need to talk about a guy going forward the other way, because Doku is having some season right now. I've been very honest about my worries about Doku, if he'd ever take the next step. I've always liked Doku. Always. I've never been a massive critic of him. I've been adamant that I love his resilience, he's persistent, and I've always said there's not a squad in the world that I wouldn't have Doku in, because I think even if he came off the bench, Doku is a remarkably effective player and just incredibly unique and incredibly fun. I've always said that. But I've also said at the same time, I don't know if Doku will just stay at the level he is, where, effective but never really get much better. I was worried he was sort of like peaked out. Yeah, it turns out I might be talking bullshit. I never said that was a fact, but that was my worry. This is what I'm hoping for Doku, and right now we're seeing him take a massive leap. And I think the new tactics are helping. I think the way that he's allowed to drift inside. I think the way that he's allowed to express himself creatively, run at people, be, involved more centrally with his driven ability. It makes such an impact on the game. Like, Doku right now is having a ridiculous season. That's an all-timer of a week for him. His performance against United, he was great. His goal against Napoli, his overall contribution against Arsenal. Like yesterday against Arsenal, against, once again, the best defensive side in the league. He was such a bloody handful. Like, he was genuinely barging past people with his physicality, and also being useful, creating chances. Like, there should have been a second goal where Haaland should have played it to Foden across, but he shot from distance. But that all came from Doku getting the ball inside his area, skipping past a couple of people with great strength, and playing a beautiful free ball to Haaland. Just such intelligent play. It's what you expect Grealish would have done, but then, with actual physicality and pace and so on, and the magic of beating one-on-one. Like, it was really, really nice play. And like, right now, if Doku keeps up this level, that's a world-class week. Like, that is a world-class week for Jeremy Doku. Assists, goals, incredible defensive performance as well against Arsenal in terms of his physicality, doing his duties, and then playing as a striker and nearly scoring, actually, with a lovely little dribble against Gabriel. Doku right now, he's having a cracking season, and I've got to give him the credit where it's due, and also, I see people talking about it being negative. Sky Blues COC, you're very negative, mate, in the chat. I know we didn't play, and they're the 5 things I talked about there. I'll quickly run through him again. Khusanov is just ridiculous, I'm just a huge fan of him, and I think there's nothing wrong with drawing attention to a defensive performance, because, a defensive performance is not necessarily a bad one if it's the game plan and if it does it well. I understand, by the way, if we defended, but we were getting battered and we were conceding chance after chance after chance. But that was not the case. We got the goal. We decided, let's just keep it tight here, because our possession isn't quite as good as it used to be. And we did it really well. We weren't under duress. This wasn't stressful to watch. I honestly wasn't stressed. And we decided to flex our defensive strength. And I don't see why. I don't think that, to me, is us showing weakness. I think, actually, I feel like this is us showing that that we're capable of adapting our game. We're capable of being pragmatic, that we're capable of keeping a clean sheet. Well, not a clean sheet. We showed that we're capable of doing that. It didn't happen, but we showed that we're capable of keeping a clean sheet for 90 minutes at least against probably the best, if not one of the best teams in the league. And look, and you can talk about standards all you want, and I have high standards of this City side, but I'm also not an idiot. I don't expect this City side to play like the best side in the league when they're obviously not the best side in the league. You can't lose De Bruyne, Gundogan, peak De Bruyne, peak Gundogan, peak Kyle Walker, peak Ederson, peak John Stones in terms of form, and Ake, then Grealish, and all these players that were treble winners, and Mahrez, and go, why are we not as good as that side anymore? Because we're just not. We've made mistakes, obviously, in the transition in terms of signings, but we're clearly building towards something. So I wouldn't sit there and go, but we're not as good as you were. We know we're not as good as you were. Everyone knows this at this point. You can't just go, but we want to be as good as you were now. It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, it doesn't. Football goes in cycles. Have I seen enough to suggest that we might get back where we were with time, with patience, with quality? Yeah, this week's been brilliant for me. It's been therapy for me this week, because have I seen brilliant creative football from our attackers? Yes. Have I seen our key men step up and be brilliant in games? Yes. Have I seen actually a rediscovery of defensive stability? Yes. When you take elements of this entire week, I've seen what City could be. I've seen the free-flowing football. I've seen the wingers dribbling and scoring goals. I've seen the defensive spine come back into the team. I've seen glimpses of what Haaland, Foden, Donnarumma, Diaz, Vardiel could all be together. I've seen a lot of good stuff this week off the back of a terrible week. And that, to me, is really exciting, because despite all the shit at Brighton Spurs, if we can follow that up with that resilience in a week that it could have been a crash and burn level week and still come out on the other side, that to me is encouraging, because I can see the bigger picture. I can see what Pep's working towards it. And Pep acknowledged after the game himself that we need to be better at certain things. Absolutely. We're not there yet. But am I worried about a Guardiola side learning how to pass a ball again? No. There is no one better in the history of the sport, the entire sport of football, teaching a side how to pass a ball than Guardiola. I truly mean that. So yes, we're not a possession-heavy side at the moment. Well, we are still, but against some sides are better than us. But will we get there? Of course you fucking will. It's a Guardiola side. If there's one thing Guardiola knows how to do, it's teach the guy how to pass a ball. It'll take a bit of time, of course, but we're going to get there. We are going to become one of the best passing sides in the world again. Obviously, because that's Guardiola's core competency. Just going to take time. If you haven't got the patience for that, I suggest you just go and watch someone, go do something else for the next 7-8 months, because it's not going to be easy. But that's on you for not seeing the bigger picture as an individual. And if you can't see that, City have dropped standards, and you're still confused why we can't batter Arsenal anymore. But you're not paying attention. And that's the thing. It's very obvious to anyone that standards have dropped, but no one's pretending otherwise. They have dropped. We're not as good as we used to be. But now they're in the process of building back where we are. And I'm fine with that, because as long as the seasons are going the same way, going the right way, and I've seen signs of that, then I'm fine to get on this journey. Because this bus ain't going to get there in 2 minutes, you know. Sometimes you got to take the long road round, because we've made mistakes, but now we're fixing them. And if you still want to be angry over those mistakes from 6, 7 months ago, 10 months ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago, go for it. But I don't know what you're achieving, really, you know. Crack on and enjoy the journey instead. You know, I do. It's like, do you know what, to me, some people can't wait to go on a holiday and they can't wait to get on the beach. I really enjoy the plane, actually. I enjoy the transfer. I enjoy chatting to the taxi man when I get there, because it's all, I know you just want to get on the beach when you go on holiday, but I like standing there in the queue waiting to get on the plane. I like the bit where you're waiting for your luggage. You know, I like it all, because it's the journey is generally some of the fun. And sometimes you're there going, oh, well, the plane's delayed by 2 hours. But it doesn't matter. Then you sit with your partner, your kids or whatever, and you do stupid things. And it's a bit of a metaphor, but I literally went to Norway with my family, and we got delayed by 2 hours. Do you know what we did? We found that there's a playground at the airport in Norway, and I was messing around, giggling around for an hour with my son. Guess what? We got bad news, and then we had some fun. The point is, the journey can be as fun sometimes if you let it be, or you can get stressed over it if you want to and go, I want to be there now. Fine, you go for that. But I promise you, life's a lot more enjoyable if you just relax, look at the bigger picture, and, you know, there we go. I didn't have a cruise, mate. We did a little fjord. It did a cruise when we were there, a tour, if that makes sense. It's called a cruise, but it was a tour when we were there. But we went to Norway in Bergen. Anyway, I'm waffling there because Normski in the chat asked if we went on a cruise. I didn't actually technically on a cruise. I got on a boat while on holiday. I went through the fjords and then came back again on the same day. But anyway, guys, I love you. I'll leave you there. I'm honestly feeling good today. I've seen enough to this week to know that we're going in the right direction, and that to me is all that matters. Once again, Big Donnarumma, congratulations on the Lev Yashin Award. Up the Blues, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Bye bye.